Just one. We're starting the first parak of Sukkah. Baruch Hashem, B'siyat Shemaya, Mazel Tov again. Shkayach everyone for participating. B'siyat Shemaya, I am here for the next week and a half, and then I am going upstate. So we have to have a conversation, which we already started having, what the best mahalach is. You know, the option to not have Kinyan wasn't an option. Shalom, shalom. What's up, Pesach? What's going on here? You're making me nervous. Did you dad goals? That's Pesach. There you go. Oh, Rav Yossi. So we're not having a break, but there's basically two options on the table. There you go. You see us in time. We have two options on the table. I'm purposely just doing this on recording, so anyone who's not here live could hear this. Option number one is we could do it via Zoom in the mornings. Like 8:30, 8:35 via Zoom, a.m. Option number two is we could do it via Zoom at night. I'm nervous about. But we could do Yehuda Vorsheimer, although he didn't agree, so I'm sort of just throwing him out there right now. He agreed maybe to sub. I don't know if the Chaver knows of Yehuda. Yehuda is incredible. He's learned Sukkah many times. And that would be another option, is to have a sub. He'll come in, he'll take over, and he'll do the summer. Option three is maybe a hybrid. Maybe he'll give shir at night, and maybe I'll record shir for those who don't get it live, and we'll keep the two together. So 3 different options. We'll put out a poll, let everyone think about it, we'll discuss it. But for now, Sukkah, Shehi Gavaya Lemaila Me'esrin Amo. A Sukkah that is taller. Oh, Shalom. Ooh, we're dressed up fancy. Sukkah Shehi Lemaila, cover the first parak, Baruch Hashem. Sukkah Shehi Lemaila Gavaya Lemaila Me'esrin Amo. A Sukkah that is taller than 20 amos. What is the halacha? Psula, it is possible. Rav Yehuda, Machshir, Rav Yehuda says it is kosher. Why does Rav Yehuda hold it's kosher? Why does Tanakam hold it's possible? The first Rashi starts off the story and says, hold your horses, the Gemara will explain. Next case. V'she'enai gavaya asara tfachim. It is not 10 tfachim tall. A tefach is usually between about 6 inches, 5 to 6 inches. So if it's not 10 tfachim tall, we're looking at about 50 inches. What are we looking at? About 4 feet. Is my math correct? 10 tfachim, 40 inches. 40 inches, about 3.5 feet. 4 inches. This is a tefach. How big is this? 4 or 5 inches. I don't know the exact number. I didn't look it up. But anyways, low, very low sukkah. It's pretty small. Vishain la gimel devanis. Or if it does not have 3 walls. Or vishachamasa meruba meitzilasa. It has more sun than shade. Psula, it is possible. So part A of the Mishnah is, how tall can your sukkah be? Tanakama says, under 20 amos. Rav Yehuda says, seemingly as tall as you want. Part B of the Mishnah is 3 different psulim. If it is not 10 tefachim tall, if it is, only 10 tefachim tall, if it does not have 3 walls, or it has too much sun. So on each item in the Mishnah, Rashi says, the Gemara will explain. On the third item, Rashi gives a pshat. And the pshat that Rashi gives is very, very intriguing. Rashi says, if there's more sun than shade, before you look at Rashi, what would you say? Why is it possible? Why would you say it's possible? It's not doing anything. You don't have schach. What do you mean you don't have schach? You have some schach.
Defeating the purpose of what schach is supposed to be.
Oh, because the schach needs to give shade, and it's not giving shade. So that's what one would have thought. Rashi here, gives a shtickle Torah. Rashi says, you have more sun than shade, so you have whatever it is, let's call it 30% schach. Says Rashi, hamuat, the little bit of schach that you have, is batul beroiv. It's as if it's not there. V'areihu, and it's as if kimi she'enoi. It's as if there's no schach. And therefore, what's the problem? V'ashem aschach kari sukkah. Why is it called a sukkah? Sukkah means misachech. Means it covers, and it's not a sukkah. So this Rashi is a $1 million Rashi, and we have to remember this when we get to the Gemara that discusses the shade. Rashi's saying something very interesting. Rashi's not happy just saying, it doesn't have enough shade, so it called tough. Rashi says the miyat, the minority of shade, is batul in the rest of the lack of shade, and therefore there's no schach. Mirza Hashem will come back to it. Says the Gemara, Tinan Hasam. We learned over there. Where is over there? Erevin Daf Beis. Mavui. A mavui. We already encountered a mavui. A mavui is a 3-walled cul-de-sac, we like to say. and we already learned that the halacha of a mavui is that midda oraisa you are allowed to carry in a mavui. Midrabanan, they forbade you from carrying in the mavui. Why? Because you might come to carry from the cul-de-sac into the Rishos Harabim. What do you do to permit the carrying from the mavui into the Rishos Harabim? We already learned one of two things. Either you put a kaira, a horizontal beam, or you put a lechi, you put a vertical beam. What does that kaira or lechi do? We've already learned it's a machlaikis. Either it's a hecker, it's a reminder, don't walk out of the mavui, or it's a mechitza, it acts as some form of partition. What is that? Mavui has 3 walls. Mavui has 3 walls. On the deraisa level you can carry, midrabanan you cannot. Now, the truth is, most of these halachas you don't really need to know, because as you'll see, we're going to be honing in on one detail. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Kogas. Welcome. Mavui shu gavaya me'esrim amma. A mavui that is taller than esrim amma. Oh, this sounds familiar. We just had a sukkah taller than esrim amma. What did our Mishnah say? If the sukkah is taller than esrim amma, it's possible. We just said it's kosher. By the mavui, what do you anticipate? A mavui that's taller than esrim amma, what should it say? Tanakama says possible. Rabbi Yehuda says kosher. Says the Gemara, mavui shu gavaya me'esrim amma yimayit. The Tanakama says, lower it. Rav Yehuda Omer, eino yitzarich. You don't need to. Which, if you think about it,
mavui, this is just talking in terms of carrying.
Good, correct.
So what does the height make a difference?
Good, good.
Where to put it?
Where to put it? Let's just go with hecker. It's a reminder. So if I have this beam as a reminder, if it's too tall, it's no good. Where to put the lechi in the kaira? Yes, correct. Very good. Now, what's the Gemara's question? The Gemara speaks out. What's 20 amos? So 20 amos would be the same 20 amos by us. What is 20 amos? Good, we're going to get there in 1 minute. Very good. And what the Gemara first hones in on before, everyone here is step 2. Before we get to step 2, the Gemara hones in on just the words. The words. If you put 2 things together, you need to be parallel. We Jews, we're a shtickle OCD. Everything has to fit. Says the Gemara, my shina gabe sukkah. What is the reason? My shina, why is it different literally? Gabe sukkah. In our Mishnah, Titani, what did it say? Psula. And Rav Yehuda says kosher. Or my shina gabe mavoi Titani takanta. How to fix it. The wording is slightly different. By the sukkah, what did the Tanakama hold? The sukkah 12 and 20 amos. It's puzzle kultov. By the mavui, what did the Tanakama say? Yamayit, lower it. Now it's true, lower it and puzzle is sort of the same thing. It means right now it's not kosher, but you couldn't make it kosher. But why in our Mishnah does it say blanket, puzzle, label, done? Whereas in Eruvin, what does it say? The way to fix it. Interesting question. So the Gemara now has multiple reasons why this is true. Very good. Why is it easier?
It's just one beam you have to lower. It's not 3 complete walls that you have to cut down.
Okay, that's going to be part of one of the truths. Very good. Let's see. The sukkah might be, and therefore also it's going to be harder to fix, you're saying. Okay, so very good. The Gemara is going to, you're both saying something very similar. Let's see the Gemara. First the Gemara gives a general answer. Sukkah de'oraisa tani psula. Sukkah is a din de'oraisa. You got to be in your sukkah, you can't eat outside of your sukkah. So on the biblical level, we use the word basel. Mavui, which the whole creation of a mavui is derabanan, tani takanta. So therefore we say a way to fix it, when something is an issue deraisa, so we just label it as you're finished. When something is an issue derabanan, we say how to fix it. Answer number 1. Answer number 2. Viba Yisayim, another answer. Bidaraisa, even on the daraisa level, nami tani takanta. Really, we should also say the way to fix it. So really, when it comes to the Mishnah, when it comes to Sukkah, it should say how to fix it. But what? Miu Sukkah. When it comes to a Sukkah, so whether you have these brackets or not, well, we'll read them, even though usually you don't read brackets, but here it's a little bit easy. Dinafishi milsa. There's many details by the Sukkah. How to fix it. So pasik v'tani psula. So gave a very simple answer. Pasik, it's clear cut. It's a psak. V'tani, and it says psula. Mavoi delo nafish mili. Mavui does not have many different details. Tani takanta. Therefore, it says just a way to fix it. Now, you could understand it the way that everyone here was saying it. It's really slightly deeper. Is that by the Sukkah, our Mishnah learned multiple dinim of the Sukkah. The Mishnah learned it needs 3 walls, it needs shade, it has to be above 10 tfachim. So Sukkah has multiple dinim. Since a Sukkah has multiple dinim, therefore, when it's something's taller than 20, we just throw it out the window. A Mavi has one din. There's one din of a Mavi. Put a beam, and that's it, finished. So since there's one din, it's an easy fix. Now, there's different ways of explaining what this is, but let's just keep it simple, that again, by a Sukkah, there's multiple dinim, really what everyone here was saying. Whereas by the Mavoi, it's simpler, it's one din, so we said a takana. So 2 answers in the difference, the contrast between Sukkah and Mavi. So this is really, we could call this like a hakdama, an introduction. This has nothing to do with what we just said, but it did teach us some important dinim. Derech agav. Parenthetically, we just learned Sukkah is a din daraisa, which we knew that, but it honed in on it. And parenthetically, we also learned that Sukkah has multiple dinim. We learned Erevin is derabanan, number 1, and number 2, it has not many dinim. So that's part A, which we really could store in a nice little box. Part A, difference between Sukkah and Mavoi. One says Pasal, one says Yemait. 2 answers, Derais, Derabanan, and many dinim, not many dinim. End of part A. Now we move on to part B. Minah, Hani, Mili. Ma'ariv is 8:19. So we're going to go for 3 more minutes, and then we're going to make sure to have time to start off on the right way and do appropriate chazar. Minah, Hani, Mili. Asks the Gemara the $1 million question, which Rav Nachri, you were sort of asking before. Where do you know this from? Where does the whole thing come from? 20 amos? Who cares? Amar Rabba. Yeah, so it's true. It's true. The chayr, this should have been first. That's sort of what I was pointing out, that this is a little bit odd. Probably the reason is that, I don't know. I like the question better than any answer I'm going to give, so I'm not going to give an answer. I would have liked the Gemara to say Minani Mini. I would have liked Taisus to come along and ask the Gemara's kash. That would have been more classical. Taisus is always busy with like the setup of the Mesechtais, and like it says the numbers. It's like a Taisus type of thing. It's not really a Gemara type of thing. But anyways, it's a good question, so I'm just leave it as a good question. Minani Mili, says the Gemara. Where do we know this from? Amar Rabba Damar Kras, says in the Torah. Laman Yedu, in order that you should know, Deiresechem, your future generations, Ki Basuka, Shafti, that in the Sukkah you dwell, that's been a Yisrael, Klal Yisrael. So purpose is you have to know that you're in a Sukkah. Ad Esrim Amma, when a structure is under 20 Amma, it's approximately 30 to 40 feet. Adam Yodea Shudar B'Sukkah, you know you're in a Sukkah. Lemala Me Esrim Amma, when something is so tall, Ein Adam Yodea, a person does not know. Shedar, that you are living basukah in a sukkah. Why? Mishom deloi shalta boy eina. Because shaili means to rule. Loi shalta boy eina, your eye doesn't rule over it. You don't realize, and Rashi says, what do you mean your eye doesn't realize it? Because what do we already learn? What's the critical ingredient in the sukkah? The schach. Where are the schach? Schach are 40 feet up in the air. So very good, you're sitting in some sort of sukkah, but your eye doesn't see such a high trajectory, and therefore it's going to be puzzle. Reason number 1, the Gemara is going to continue with reason number 2, another pasuk that has to do with the shade, and if it's more than 20 amais, you're not necessarily sitting in the shade of the schach, but that's going to be the teretz of Rav Zeir for tomorrow. Let's stop over here. Let's start off on the right foot, do an incredible chazara. And everyone should just think what they think would be the best for them for the summer. We'll communicate, and we have another, whatever it is, to figure out what's the best mahalach.